never give up. I never give up. I never give up. Turn around.
Welcome back to Neff Inspiration, my show on YouTube and as a podcast with me, your host, Stephan Neff. Another fantastic day because I've got Ria Flanagan with me. Ria is the author of Happiness is an Inside Job, the Playbook. And when I saw that title, I thought, what a beautiful title and how truthful it is. And it's such a simple message, but most of us don't get it. And the moment I read that title, I knew I had to talk to Ria today on our show. Ria, welcome to my show.
Thank you for having me. It's a pleasure. And I just love giving back and sharing information with communities to, help it maybe evolve or maybe just give some information that could help with their mental health well-being. And that was really the purpose. I created a book. I created a course for my clients that eventually I realized, because I work with trauma and addiction, and I realized, well, you know what? Everybody could benefit, right, from more happiness, more increasing levels of happiness. And I think that one of the biggest pieces was creating daily practices, right? And I created this course over 40 days, every day, 5 minutes, anyone can do it, right? Even the busy mom, boss, whoever you are, take 5 minutes to write down 10 things you're grateful for, to set an intention for really soaking in those moments of joy and expanding them and learning how to hold space for more happiness. And again, because I work with people in recovery, a lot of that is also peeling back the layers into what is my life purpose? Who is my authentic self? Like, how do I get there? And putting pen to paper is a great way to start. There's a lot of visuals in the book. There's a lot of experiential pieces. But it really is something everyone can do. And who doesn't want a little more happiness? Why not? Why not increase the levels of happiness? Sounds good to me.
Oh, it's so true. It's so true. And obviously we all are guilty of it. We live such busy lives, often due to our own construction of the lives. Yes, they're external pressures, but we bring all these pressures in and then add the internal pressures. And then we shouldn't be surprised that the levels of mental unwellness are huge out there, and mental health problems, really diagnosable things like depression and anxiety and disorders, are going through the roof. No surprise there. And let's not kid ourselves. I mean, this is the principles that you have outlined in your book. They are applicable for absolutely everyone. But let's look at the figures. I mean, depression is what, 1 in 3 in a lifetime chance. If you look at the amount of, or the incidence of chemical addiction, well, conservative figures would say 1 in 5, maybe 1 in 4. If you talk to people out there who are in the know, well, let's call it 1 in 3. Okay, so this is huge. We all have got our burdens. And I love how you put the trauma and the alcohol together. And when we say addiction, really the root causes of that are trauma in our past. If you look at the amount of adverse childhood experiences and their influence, if you look at intergenerational trauma and our genetic load of trauma, hell, we have no chance. If you just look at the facts, my goodness.
Yeah, Dr. Gabor Mate wrote a book, The Myth of Normal, and I think it really breaks down the science and really helps you understand that like there is no normal, right? And we were all touched by trauma, unfortunately, because we don't live on a planet without war. You turn on the TV and see the crime, and I mean that is impacting us all the time. And so there is this piece of when we start to realize, wow, I have trauma, then you can do something about it, right? There's really effective ways, EMDR, SE, tons of ways to heal. But if we're in denial that we even have it, how are we going to do that? And you can see the denial in addiction, right?
Guilty as charged. Guilty as charged. But then again, I mean, we are very primitive people and very primitive in our mind. Yes, of course, we are humans. We are Homo sapiens. Look at us, big brain, etc. And then when I look at the way how the people around me, including myself, have been dealing with trauma, Yeah, about that. We basically reframe things and we try to escape our reality. And I think this escaping the reality can take so many forms. Some of them maybe not so clever, the drugs, the alcohol, etc. But many of them are socially very much appreciated. If you're a workaholic, I was a workaholic long before I became an alcoholic. As a workaholic, hey, look here, self-made man. Oh, look at him, all the alphabet soup behind the name, or the seemingly obvious money, keeping up with the Joneses kind of thing. Oh my goodness, that was me. And there are so many other people out there. And then we wonder why so many people, when you just scratch the surface, there is unhappiness there. There's a lack of joy, a lack of purpose, a lack of vision. And it's so hard to then not fall prey to the easy escapes. And if you look back in your own life, we all have had our escapes. Come on.
Yes, I think that absolutely. And there's so many ways it could be Netflix binging. It could be, people use sex, people use gambling, people use doing, people use perfectionism, workaholism, all these things. Again, what are we doing? You're trying to put out a fire. You're trying to regulate.
Mm,
And, that then the thing, that you're trying to put out the fire with, be it alcohol, be it working, right, becomes its own problem because we see high levels of burnout. We see, especially in our field, working with helping others too. I mean, that can easily burn out and be a workaholic because
mm,
there's always people, needing services. But at the same time, it's like, I'm not my work. We're not our work, right? We're not the things outside of us. Hence, happiness is an inside job. It really is. We have to
mm,
find those places inside of us, right? Esteeming within, having healthy boundaries of that's not, that's outside of me, right? Because we can change jobs, we can change relationships, we can change ourselves even in some ways. So, but it's looking at what is really, who am I truly? Where is my purpose and where am I fully actually fulfilled rather than just being the hamster in the wheel?
mm. Very well said. But for that, you need to stop. And I think that is so hard for so many of us to actually stop. And often enough, we are so busy, 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 busy until suddenly your marriage is gone because you have never learned your own love language, leave alone what are the needs of your partner. And both of your needs were unfulfilled and you've moved silently away. And then the kids are out of the house and bidding, you realize there's nothing there. So not only have you started to create a problem by lack of knowledge, lack of insight, lack of emotional intelligence, but now you have got all the other trauma from the past as now new trauma. We're living in an unstable world where you might lose a job or jobs get changed in such a way that AI or indeed new economic circumstances make you redundant or change the need for people like you. Poof, there goes your purpose. My
Mhm,
goodness. I
mhm.
mean, do we have a chance? Is there actually? Yeah, how could you possibly deal with all that? Is it not an Sisyphus job? Sisyphus, for those of you Greek mythology, he pissed off the gods. So Sisyphus was now forced to roll a big stone up the hill, and every single time he reached the top, the stone would roll back down, and he had to start from scratch. He would never ever win for the rest of time. So is that not the same with our lives?
I do this, right? Life does this. It's kind of like the rock analogy, right? You get to the top, you're like, oh, I made it. And then it does this. And so if we can find a way to ride it that when things are harder or things don't always go our way, that we know it will go back up and then it will go back down.
Mm,
And if we can get out of being in reaction
mm,
to everything, right? You
mm,
get what you focus on, you get more of what you focus on. So if I'm focusing on the fall, if I'm focusing on the
mm,
pain, if I'm
mm,
focusing on the mistake, well, if I'm just hyper focused on it, I'm not
Mm.
really getting the gift from it, right? So
No.
getting the gift, getting the lessons, getting the, even when things are hard, there's gifts there. Even the emotions that are difficult have information that we need. And so instead of running away from our emotions, running away from the hard stuff, it's what can I learn from this? What is the gift that this difficult time has for me?
Mm.
I, wrote my book, and it's no secret because I say right at the beginning that I had trauma at an early age. But I am able to now go, I wouldn't take back any part of me and my life because I wouldn't be here now.
Mm.
I wouldn't have my beautiful children. I wouldn't be the mother that I am. I wouldn't, all of those things, because I've learned, I've taken the lessons. And I think that everyone has potential to do that. I think sometimes we get stuck, and that's where a therapist, a coach, somebody that can
Mm.
help you
Mm.
unstick, right? With EMDR or SE, there's a lot of modalities. I talk about all of that in my book. I give really practical tools to get people started.
Mm.
But I always say, get a guide. It's community, a guide, and anyone in recovery knows that it's not about doing it alone. That's not how we get through life. We need each other. And that's one of the things I love about these podcasts is I get to make new friends. I get to connect. I get to talk with like-minded people. It's
Yeah.
fantastic. It really is a great way. And also we get to educate and maybe provide some help for someone out there who is looking for support.
So true. And it is weird because most of us have got this inbuilt pride. No, I'm especially United States, the kind of self-made here. I'm self-made. I'm self. It's all about me. Look at me. And then to actually ask for help, especially when things are not going right. Everything is about the outside persona that you portray. And in reality, inside you're crumbling.
Oh,
That is especially true, maybe even more so for my generation, our generation. We are sort of mixed generations here. You're a little bit younger than me, but having said that, we are both sort of,
yeah.
nowadays maybe, when you're in the 20s or teens, maybe it's a little bit more normal and maybe abnormally normal that you are admitting to trauma and that you're living it up to be a victim. There's a lot of the pendulum swinging the other way. Let's not go into that, but I think
Yeah.
maybe
You can't heal from a victim place. You just can't
touche.
heal from a victim place. And it's not to take away that, yes, that happened. This trauma, this thing happened. But if we stay stuck there, if we
Mm,
go, this happened and then I couldn't, right?
mm,
This happened and then I didn't, and you stay in the blame and the shame, there's a stuckness there, right? We can't heal from that place. So, we're not there now, right?
mm,
So I'm not there now. And so let's do the work. Let's get a guide. Let's get support around how do I move that old stuff out. And, under Vesselkoff's trauma body keeps a score. It really talks about trauma
mm,
and how our bodies hold trauma.
mm,
And getting a good therapist, someone who knows how to move things out of the body and how to really process that, it really changes everything. I mean, I did my own trauma work, and then I learned how to help others do it because it was so life-changing for me. So it's out there.
mm,
And I would just want people to know that a lot of times, like you said, people are just going through life. They don't even know they have trauma.
mm,
That's where Gabor Mate's work is so helpful, right? Is that it's everywhere, and we all have we've all been touched by something.
mm,
So that knowledge in itself means, oh, wait, I could
mm,
feel better without having to numb out, because when we're numbing out, we're also numbing out our capacity to have the joy,
mm,
passion, and love, which we all want more of that,
mm,
obviously. So, but we can also get kind of stuck in, this is who I am. I am this person that's numb, and that's who I am. Or I am this person that suffers, or, this identity that can come with that. And it's like, wait, we got to
mm,
peel all that back to get to your authentic self, because
mm,
that isn't who you truly are, right? You're not in your
mm,
authentic self. You're in your pain, you're in the suffering, you're in the shame, whatever it is. And so when we can peel that back, it's this discovery process, and it's an
mm,
adventure to, who am I really when I
mm,
am in my body, and I can feel joy now, and I can move
mm,
out, the stuff
mm,
from the past. And it's very powerful work. And
mm,
I'm delighted, right? When someone comes in and say they they haven't been able to drive a car since the car accident. We do EMDR in 3 sessions, they're driving their car. I mean, there's amazing things, right, that we can do now and with the modalities out there. So I just want people to know, I want people to, you know, more joy. I mean, I have kids in the world, right? So I want to definitely contribute to making this planet and world a better place in any way possible without burning out, of course.
And for those of you, oh,
I
please.
was gonna say, I have to be happy in order, right? In order to make any change and be effective, I've got to have that boundary and hold my space. So I see less clients than I used to, but I do things like this and I do things like my book. So I actually impact and reach more people, but I work less. So
Very nice. Lots of gems, pearls of wisdom you've shared there. And I think one of the things that we also need to acknowledge is that our minds are what we consider as the truth is probably a heap of bullshit. So we have got about 80,000 thoughts thereabouts per day. 80% of them are negative. If you look at the way you feel and think about your life. For example, 95% of people who drink dangerous amounts of alcohol would say, me, an alcoholic? No, 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 no. Oh, John down there, look at him. Or Tina over there. Ooh, no, she is an alcoholic. And me, no, no, no. I just drink socially. I'm just very social. So there you go. 95% denial is a huge part. So therefore, you close your eyes off. You on purpose rephrase things. The same holds true with trauma and the effects of it. I'm a living example of that. Nowadays, I know that I've suffered and that my life was permeated with PTSD. I didn't click onto that until about 7 years ago, despite the fact that the gang assault that occurred to me was at age 13. But I had rephrased it. I had rephrased it into, look, I became a martial artist. I became this man. I'm a really great doctor because you can't catch me out because I'm so aware. Well, hyper awareness is one of the key features of PTSD, and it really, So by the time I was in my, well, yeah, around about 50, a friend of mine basically in front of my eyes fell apart with PTSD. He was a special forces medic, and the past came brutally back to him. And here he was falling apart, literally, a full house of signs and symptoms of PTSD. And one day he came to work and he was a bit different. And he said, look, it's absolutely fine. I am, I've seen someone and it's going to be all right. And I thought, oh shit. I didn't believe him. I thought, oh my God, are we now going down a route for a permanent solution to a temporary problem? And I was really threatening for worrying about him. And in my mind, at that moment, standing in front of him, I thought, yeah, right. Here you are, hyper awareness, and I ticked off all the hallmarks of PTSD. And suddenly I realized that I was describing myself. And
Wow.
I was 50. That was what, 33 years after the assault. And I thought, oh my God.
Wow.
And so denial is so huge. Lack of insight is so huge. You not knowing what you don't know makes it so hard to seek help. So, guys, chances are there is something wrong. No, wrong. That's wrong. No, that's wrong. It's wrong that it's wrong. No, what I'm trying to say is there is something happening in you, and that's the reason that you're here watching this show. That's the reason that you are listening in, and for that I congratulate you, because
Yeah.
you are following your instinct. Your instinct tells you, hang on, there is something I can maybe do to live a happier life, a better life.
Yeah. Yes. Yes. That is so like just that moment when you go, wow, there's something that I can do. And a lot of talk therapy won't get the job done
Mm.
because you're in the cognitive brain. We really need to get in the body. EMDR, somatic experiencing are some great tools, but there's more, but IFS, but you got to get in the body because
Mm.
it lives in the body and we can't talk ourselves out of trauma. And that's
Mm.
one thing.
Mm.
Talk therapy is great for processing many things, and I do that as well. But but there is a big piece. If we're doing trauma work, we've got to do it in certain ways
Mm,
that get into the body,
mm,
breath work, movement, a lot, visualization. There's a
mm,
lot of different elements to help move that out.
mm,
And it works. And I can attest to it because I
mm.
also have been through my own work,
Yeah.
right? And I think also as a clinician or, a coach and whatever you're doing, if we can only take our clients as far as we've gone. So if we haven't fully done the work, we're only going to be able to take them so far.
Nice, nice. You're talking a lot about the somatic experiences or the way that the body holds the score. So issues lie in the tissues. Shall we talk about some of the more practical ways how to deal with that, the EMDR, for example? And I'm quite happy to be your guinea pig, your model here. If you want to
Well,
talk me or walk me through a an experience or walk me through a technique, please be my guest.
I think, one of the things that I always can do with anybody, right? That anyone can do and is create a place, a safe place. In EMDR, they call it calm place. In my book, I have like a workspace that you create. But however that works for you, but creating a place and using your five senses. So visually, where's a place that you feel calm, comfortable, relaxed? It could be I've had people draw their place if they have a hard time
Mm,
like visually, they need to draw it. I've had people create a place, like create their own planet
mm,
and create it there because they didn't feel like there was a safe
mm,
place on Earth. I've really, you can go outside the box here because it's your imagination. You can be creative, but this is a place that you would first create. And I even say sometimes with like a lot of trauma, you could create like a force field where no one can see your place, right? So it's protected, right? Where it's just on its own
yeah.
little island and you create that so that when you go there, it's just you don't bring anything in that you wouldn't want. And so you sort of create all that security, whatever it is, right? To get yourself there. And maybe you count backwards, right? From 20 or you just, slowly in your mind, like 20, 19, 18, maybe you're walking on a path as you're counting down and you slowly move in and you slowly just count all the way down.
Mm,
Just as you're counting, maybe just go slower with the counting, right?
mm,
And really see the path and then see the stairs up to your place. And then, right. And then there's this beautiful force field of white light that you walk through that just clears out all the past, clears out anything that you don't want. It's just a healing white light as you come into the door. Maybe there's a security, like it scans your eyes or your hand, so only you can come into this beautiful place, right? And then maybe it's on a beach or in a mountain or a lake, wherever you really feel beautifully safe. And then you think about like the weather, how the sun or the wind feels on your skin. Maybe you're in a boat, wherever you are, right? Noticing that, and then noticing, oh, how does it feel? Right, in my body to be here. What am I noticing in my body as I'm, under the sun or standing up by the ocean or wherever you are? How does that feel? And then really sinking into that and, really notice the sensations. Is there any emotions, right, coming up? And sometimes it could be calm. Sometimes you might feel sadness. Well, it was in you, right? So whatever comes up, you just greet it like, oh, like let it out, let it come up, let it spill out. Just create that space where you can be calm, confident, relaxed in this beautiful place. Find, a chair, or couch, or wherever you would want to sit in this beautiful place and just allow yourself to rest and be there, noticing the smells, the sounds, the sights, and really just taking it all in. This is a wonderful exercise that you could
mm,
do in the morning for a few minutes, at night before you go to bed, maybe on a lunch break. And the more you practice coming to this place and using your five senses to engage with just taking that moment, right? That's the first step to anything, is actually being able to get to a place of calm. And even if it's for a second, great.
mm,
Then go to the next second, then maybe do it for another minute, right? It's a practice. It's a daily practice, just like working out. We don't
mm.
just go to the gym and get a six pack. We don't just, right, lose 20 pounds when I go and swim, right? It takes daily intention and practice and to really build. And once we start building that safe, calm place, right, we can get into deeper work because we have to create an opening. We have to create that. So sometimes, people come into my office and be like, hey, let's dive into the trauma. It's like, first, let's ground, let's get in our bodies. What's coming up, right? When we're in do, we're on this like hamster wheel or this automatic pilot. We're not in our intuition. We're not connected, right? And now we really know with science and medicine and all that we're learning is like the heart and the gut are also, right? There's also wisdom and like their own brains. So we're not just a brain. So if we're not connected to our heart, we're not connected to our gut, we're not sort of aligning all of that, we're missing things. We're missing maybe our life purpose, maybe the partner for us, maybe, right? We're missing all the things. Maybe we're working in a career or a job that's not right for us. And so when we start to attune and dig out these moments, right? These practices, we're not going to get those messages. We're not going to be connected. There's always, when we're making decisions, there's not only one road, there's many roads. And when we allow ourselves to get calm, we can make decisions in a more powerful place. So a lot of times we associate power with, like sort of almost like it could be, maybe we associate power with fear, maybe we associate power with anger. But clear that away and associate power with actually being calm, connect, aligned, in tune, because we're powerful when we're making decisions from that place. It's a powerful place to lead our lives in a place of calm. And structurally, I do work with people too, right? Of noticing where is that, when you're sitting, when you're moving, when you're, like sitting in a way that you're flexible rather than like rigid, it actually helps, right? So having that flexibility, having your spine in alignment, being able to breathe deep breaths, not shallow breaths, right? Here, you want to breathe from the belly up. I say all the way down to your toes, right? Like deep breath and then right, all the way out. So a lot of times we're breathing just up here. Okay, so we're not getting the full life breath. We're not connected. We're not in our emotions. And our emotions, again, also make us powerful. They're gifts that provide information. And you spoke about emotional intelligence. We're really learning now in businesses and organizations that leadership coming from a place of being emotionally intelligent is more powerful. People are more connected and want to be part of the solution of making that business great because they're connected and feel seen and right and in tune with their leadership. When leadership is running from fear and a dictatorship, people are shut down, they're resentful. So the change really has to happen, right? Even in leadership, even in our world, from a place that is emotionally intelligent, that is in tune, that is connected, and I become concerned that so much leadership has come not from that place in our world. And I think that's a huge part. And again, we are the leader of ourselves. And that is where we start, right? We start with being emotionally connected to ourselves, our own wants and needs. And maybe that need is getting support, working through some trauma so you can really find what your life purpose is.
Sure.
But again, very powerful stuff.
Oh, it's beautiful. No, it's beautiful the way you say that. And we all want to change the world. We all want that magic to happen. We all want, what we do want is the quick fix.
Evolution.
Well, that's true. That's true. But no one wants to do the hard work to get there. No one realizes that every second you have got a choice. You can choose either to get sidetracked. You can choose to eat something that is probably not so great. It will give you a spike of dopamine and a spike of sugar. And then in 30 minutes, you will crash and burn and will be depressed because your blood sugar is low. Oh, that's the chocolate. And that's those kind of quick fixes. Whilst us trying to create habits and trying to do every second something that is good for us, that is a lifestyle. And there is no quick fix. We see it with, for example, obesity in the last 10 years, especially in the United States. It is crazy, absolute crazy, the amount of obesity that has crept in. Now, there is something seriously going wrong So we are not getting better. Despite the fact that there is maybe more emotional intelligence, that there are more people buying into what we are talking about, the reality, if we look at literally what is happening on the ground with the diabetes epidemic that we see, with the drug epidemic, with there are so many things. Mental health epidemic. I mean, where shall I stop? I mean, we can talk, there are a lot of things going wrong. So
Yeah.
we want to change the world, but we need to start with us. We need to stop and start feeling, getting to know our feelings,
What
working
are
with
you
them.
eating? What are you eating? Like you said, what are you putting in your body? Is it processed? Is it right? What are we and also learn about that. I went to Italy and I was like, oh my gosh, like the food tastes different. Like tomatoes, nectarine, everything tasted different because it was all organic. It was so amazing. And so I have a garden now, Gardyn in my house because Arizona, it's harder to grow some things in my house that has lights and I pour water in it and give it plant food, but it's about to grow tomatoes, pumpkins,
Yes,
squash,
yes.
lettuce, onions, everything. So if we can get back to basics,
Yep.
right? And this is something you could buy online just like me. I don't have time to go plant a whole garden. I wish I did. But so let's look at the solution. How can I eat organic? How can I eat, right? How can I make that happen? Let's focus on the solution. Let's focus on what can we do, right? And you said it, right? We have to start with ourselves because
Mm,
we're modeling for our children, for our family, for other
mm,
people,
mm.
our clients. We have to start there, and that's what we have power over. That's what we have power over.
Beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. And then sometimes it's so hard to actually know where to start. And I think that is where a course such as yours or a book such as yours is can be so helpful. So, and there are nowadays there's so many beautiful people out there. I mean, that's where I've got the privilege and honor of talking to people like you. So we are now close to 500 interviews that I've conducted, and I have grown with each and every interview I've done. I'm very grateful to each and everyone out there, and to you, Ria, for opening my eyes. And sometimes the discussions there's not necessarily something groundbreakingly new there for me, but it confirms, it reassures me that I'm on the right path. And by us becoming enthused again about going back to the basics, I make
Mhm.
better decisions throughout the day because I'm
Yeah.
guilty as charged. I can be sidetracked. I can
Yeah.
want the chocolate. I can make decisions that are not so great for me. But it's coming back onto the path. If you think,
Mhm.
if I fly from here, beautiful New Zealand, to Arizona,
Mhm.
and if I look exactly at the map at every one time, 99% of the time, the pilot will be off course because that's
Mhm.
what happens in life. Winds come suddenly from a different direction. You're going off course, and that's
Yeah.
normal. Okay. So you will always be off course, but your skill, uh, your mission, should you choose to accept it, is that you actually find ways to quicker get back onto the path. There will
Mhm.
be new trauma. There will be new pity parties. Cool.
Mhm.
That's absolutely fine. But let that pity party be a day, not a year. And I
Mhm.
think that is where we need to grow. And that is where we all have the opportunity and the possibility, but also the duty to do so, because you can't change the world without changing yourself. And I think
Yes.
that is such a powerful, beautiful, simple statement. But if we were to live by it, my goodness, would this world not be a better place? I strongly believe so.
So it is those little steps. It is those daily practice. It is those little things that you do that,
Mm.
again, it's you go to the gym every day. It's going to change your life, right? You eat healthy every day. It's going to change your life. It's that thing
Mm.
that you're doing, right? The fake sweetener or the artificial thing that you're putting in every day is also going to hurt you, right? So
Touché.
if we change one thing,
Mm.
right? Eat more organic, change one thing, notice how, wow, everything starts to move, right? And it is powerful and simple. Like I think that's the thing. I'm not recreating the wheel in my book, but I'm taking things that have helped me. There's tons of
Exactly.
resources in there. things that have personally helped me and that, I've learned along the way. And there's a lot of shout outs to a lot of healers and other people I've worked with, because it is a community, right? I used to have this belief I have to do everything on my own. Like that was a belief. And then I was like, even when you write a book, you need an editor, right? There's
No.
so many people who help me along the way. And I try to say thank you to everyone because even this meeting you today, right? Everything is a part of my journey. I'm so grateful for it. And again, bringing it back it is about those simple things because you want to change the world, but you're not willing to change yourself. That's not going to happen.
Touche. Touche.
You know?
Oh, Ria, you're an amazing woman. If people want to find your book, where can they find it? And if they want to know more about you, can they find you?
Yes. So you can get Happiness is an Inside Job Playbook on Amazon. And there's some other similar titles. So it has to have the playbook on the end, Happiness is an Inside Job Playbook. And then the other piece is my website. If you're interested in a workshop, I do 3-day intensives for childhood trauma, post-induction therapy by Pia Melody's work. I combine somatic experiencing, IFS, different modalities in there. And it's a 3-day structured workshop. And I lead you through just a beautiful process of healing. I personally went through it. Up at the Meadows, they have survivors retreat. So those are other resources to do it. And really, honestly, was life-changing stuff to work out trauma from childhood. So that's a great workshop that I do. And it's on my website, www.rise, R-I-S-E, up, U-P, recover, RECOVERAZ.com, riseuprecoveraz.com. And so you can find all those resources there. So thank you so much for having me and this talk. I've really chosen to do these podcasts as a learning for myself, but also to give back to my community. And so I always get something and I love to make new friends and it's just a real pleasure. So thank you so much.
An absolute pleasure. It was an honor and privilege to have you as a guest on my show. And you guys out there, just think about right now one thing that you can do because you're already on a winning streak. Do you realize that? You actually showed up to this interview. You listened through all the interview till here. Wow, what a win. What a perseverance. So what is the next thing that you can now do? You're on a winning streak. Maybe you can just stretch yourself. A really nice stretch. And maybe have a big glass of water. And maybe just say, wow, that's cool. And maybe then you can press the like and subscribe button down there. So that you don't forget and that you get reminded on all the cool interviews that are coming out here. Tell your friends about it. I know I'm making a joke here. Just go back to your life. You are important. Change your life. Think what is the next cool decision you can make, and one step at a time, 1 minute at a time, 1 day at a time. You will be such an amazing human being before you blink. So, Ria, thank you so much for helping me to make this world a better place, one interview at a time. Bye.
Yeah. Bye. Thank you so much.
I never give up. I never give up. I never give up. Turn around.